So the roots of Halloween is from Samhain, which over 2,000 years ago, ancient Celts, Ireland, Scotland, Northern Europe, they celebrated this festival. It's their new year. The year was divided in two. And so on October 31st to November 1st, that was the end of the year. And then they go into the dark months. They believe that the veil between the physical world and the spiritual world was the thinnest on October 31st. They would make these fires as ways to ward off these evil spirits and also to worship the sun god. Think about the costumes, the bonfires, the creepy ghosts, the goblins. They would wear masks and animal skin. They believed that demons were roaming the earth on that night. They would disguise themselves so the demons couldn't harass them or torment them. And then their priests would do divination, fortune telling, sacrifice rituals, animals, and even humans sometimes to appease these gods. And you have this pagan festival around death, divination, and demonic sacrifices and altars. What happened when the church started spreading, they tried to redeem this holiday, replace it with All Saints Day, honor the saints and the Christian martyrs and all of these wonderful people. And that became All Hallows Eve, Halloween.
This is the Celtic origin, Celtic, the pagan origin supposedly. This is what anti-Halloween Christians would tell you.
Halloween and the days that follow are Christian festivals. This is a Catholic Christian series of 3 days. Halloween comes from the Old English All Hallows Eve. It's the eve of All Saints Day. Hallows Day, All Hallows is All Saints. It's the vigil of the great solemnity of All Saints. And that's why we have it at all. It's easy for people who hate Christ and his church to try to make these associations, which might be founded in some kind of cultural bleed from one group of people to another, is real. It would be an oversimplification and also wrong to say that Christianity simply took pagan festivals and put this veneer of faith on top of them.
There are some Catholics. I don't often say that. It's hard to pronounce for me. Católico. There are some Catholics that believe the origin is pagan, but it still can be celebrated in a Christian way. Now, I'm not Catholic. I do have issues with the whole of All Hallowtide season due to the doctrine of purgatory, praying for the dead, but I do find their perspective very interesting, wild if true, that Halloween is just another perverted inversion by the enemy of a supposedly Christian festival or feast, just like Christmas or Easter. And for Catholics and the Orthodox as well, though I find more of a split within the Orthodox Church on whether it's fruitful to celebrate Halloween or not. More on that later. If there's anything that I think can be reclaimed from Halloween, supposing for a moment that its pagan origins are false, it's how it's meant to commemorate Christ's triumph over death, not to celebrate death itself.
The whole thing about masquerading and even dressing up as demons and ghouls and fiends, there's a place for that in ancient Christian life and medieval Christian life.
Really?
Now, unfortunately, we don't live in a culture that makes sense of that. But if Christ is victorious over sin and death, then the demons are conquered. Medieval Christians in different parts of especially Western European Catholicism said that this is the perfect opportunity for us to thumb our noses at them. You dress up like a ghost or a goblin and you say, you've got nothing on us because Christ is victorious over you.
Other priests suggest, like Father Ripperger, is that correct? Father Chad Ripperger. Like they say to dress up as saints, which kind of makes more sense to me. In Orthodox, as I've mentioned, I've seen sort of a split. I've heard some of their priests say it's okay as long as it's not a cult.
My advice, again, to my parish is going to be take your kids to one of these trick-or-treat events, trunk-or-treat, whatever, that are at the local Protestant churches. They're generally benign. There's usually nothing there that's at all questionable in any way, shape, or form. Your kids can still dress up and wear whatever outfits they want. They can still get candy and have a fun time. The most important thing is a family, you get to enjoy it and make a memory.
I understand that this is for his own parish, and I respect that, but wear whatever outfits they want.
There's the cute little bats and pumpkins and fairy costumes, and then there's like the really gruesome, gory, scary, demonic even sides of Halloween.
I'm much more down the middle road. When it comes to Halloween, like I'm a Christian, but I'm also a person that lives here with children. It's a time for them to be able to like dress up. First of all, my daughter dresses up almost every day. She wants to be like Elsa. So is that wrong now because she dresses up on October 31st, then it becomes wrong?
Elsa?
Do you want to build a snowman?
Who is virtually someone who practices witchcraft, which is a cult, catered to be child-friendly, I guess, but I digress. I think the worst would be having alternative, meaningless activities, because what happens, in my opinion, is, sure, it's all funsies, it's harmless, dress up, go trick-or-treating. You know, if they don't even discuss the Christian perspective on death, the lack of meaning, the lack of intention, I would say. It's harmful on its own. For these types of Christians, it just makes me wonder whether participating in Halloween boils down to complacency and parental FOMO. Oh no, my child don't have a childhood. Is Halloween redeemable? That's the question that I think a lot of Christians try to answer. I know most Orthodox and Catholics have a similar stance on Halloween, but as I've mentioned, I've seen a sort of a split in the former. I see Orthodox Christians who don't even want to reclaim Halloween. Like it's a lost cause despite its Christian roots.
Guys, I just saw something after sequencing the video. Mahilig ka bang lumahok sa Halloween-themed activities tulad ng trick or treat? May babala ang CBCP sa pakikihalok sa mga aktibidad tulad nito na may kaugnayan nila sa okultismo at hindi dapat tinatangkilik. So I'm wrong. Scratch that. There are also Catholics who believe that Halloween should not be celebrated. And this is part of the report. Babala ni Father Jerome Ceciliano. Yung mga sinasabi nating Halloween trick or treat ay may occult yan eh. It's all about the work of the devil. Parang ano to eh. In-encourage pa natin, huwag naman sana. Dagdag niya, ang pagsuot ng nakakatakot na damit o kaya'y takutan tuwing undas ay hindi nanggaling sa Pilipinas kundi kinay. Nalamang sa mga tradisyon sa Amerika at Europe. That sounds a little weird, like a little sus, like it's just very different from what I've heard so far from other Catholics. Anyway,
To be honest, I'm leaning more towards to this side of Christians. Whether Halloween is of Christian origin or not, it really does give me a weird feeling. Uncomfortable, to put it lightly. There's a quote attributed to Anton LaVey, founder of the Church of Satan, which goes like, "I am glad that Christian parents let their children worship the devil at least one night out of the year. Welcome to Halloween." But I can't find any credible source that verifies he really did say it, so I take that with a grain of salt. However, there is a record of him stating that after one's own birthday, the two major satanic holidays are, I hope to pronounce this right, Walpurgisnacht. Murdered it, but that was fun. I love pronouncing German words. So that and Halloween. And I'm going to reel back a little bit to Ripperger, just because he's a very well-respected exorcist. I myself have a lot of respect for his teachings, exorcism and deliverance. He has mentioned that high-level satanic rituals do not occur on Halloween.
I've been doing exorcism works for 15 years. The more we study this stuff, the more we find out that the high-level Satanists, the people you don't even know who they are, or what they're doing, or they look like the person in church, or he's the judge or the police officer. They seem like morally upright people, even though the reason they appear that way and the reason you don't know is because they're doing stuff that are capital crimes. So they don't want you knowing this. Those high-level types of people, October 31st is not their primary time. It's actually in the spring. The point being is that it's the middle tier people that are involved in this stuff and the hacks that are at the bottom that make themselves known and stir this stuff up. And I think they just do that more as an allure. The reality is that the real serious satanic feasts are actually in the spring.
So perhaps Halloween is not the peak night for human sacrifices of the year. Maybe it's possible that it's just a distraction from the real biggest satanic feasts of the year to let our guard down and whatnot, if that makes sense. But all these former devil worshippers like Satanists, occultists, witches, who are now saved by Jesus Christ's amazing grace, they warn us that Halloween does carry heightened spiritual darkness. I don't pray against only to the top spirits in my daily prayer. I rebuke even the little demons. How do I explain this? How do I express this? It's like, is taking an after pill a lesser evil type of human sacrifice than unaliving already born babies? I would think so, but it's still human sacrifice. I don't think I should care less or be less vigilant about Halloween just because those who practice a cult on this night are less serious practitioners. There are still thousands, if not millions, very active on this day or night with all of their occultic activities. But I know that's not really the point of Ripperger. His point is don't dabble in the occult and make sure that you observe it in a Christian framework. What makes me just wiggle in my seat is
In the stores where you go and find these costumes that you can dress your kids up with, you can dress yourselves up with, these aisles have been hexed
They have been cursed. There have been rituals and even sacrifices placed over these costumes so that when you put them on your children and when you put them on yourselves, you are unknowingly coming into a spiritually binding contract, opening a door legally in the spirit to change and alter your identity even just for one night.
So hexes on the harmless costumes, a lot of Christians would be defending. Why am I not surprised? Because the demons, they love to disguise themselves as harmless things.
Put your daughter in a mermaid costume and wonder why 6 months from now she's having nightmares, sleep paralysis, and she's being monitored by a marine spirit. That candy is not any different. The candy that's often found in the same aisles as these costumes has had just as many spells, hexes, and curses put over them, except for these are to wish death upon your family, to wish sickness, illness, disease, long-term CANCER upon you and your family. It is to destroy the temple of the Holy Spirit.
Okay, they hex the sweets and stuff like that. They cast spells on it. But sweets don't even have to be hexed for me to question it. Because why candies? Why sugar? One Reese cup. I love Reese. That's why I just kind of blurted it out. One Reese cup amounts to almost the daily recommended sugar consumption in grams for a kid. Multiply that as you go door to door, trunk to trunk. If you're doing trunk or treating, I guess, collecting chocolate bars, lollipops, and whatnot. Even if you don't eat it all in one day, just having 2 or 3 is excessive. There's always a deeper truth to anything. So it makes me wonder, why sugar on Halloween? Sugar causes so many health complications that lead to death. Do I love my raw honey and milk? Yes, sir. I'm not saying sugar is demonic, but do you know how easy it is to give in to the spirit of gluttony?
Literally try cutting out sugar. There's studies showing like sugar versus cocaine in rats, and rats will take the sugar over the cocaine. And people are like, that's an insane thing to say. It can't be more addictive than cocaine. But I have experience getting off of things because with the hip and ankle replacement, I was put on OxyContin for a year. And getting off of OxyContin was easier than cutting out sugar. Like when I cut out processed foods, I was having dreams about angel food cake, like dreams about brownies. It was really hard.
Bam! You're hooked to a lifetime of type 2 diabetes maintenance because the doctor doesn't really tell you that it's actually reversible, or at least encourage you to have it reversed instead of drug reliance. I was gonna say something else that rhymes with subtraction, but that might be too much.
All of these demonic decorations that we cover our houses with from top to bottom, our porches, our entryways, our bedrooms, these are intimate places that you are covering with demonic altars and inviting and allowing unknowingly demonic unclean spirits to come in and infiltrate your home and giving them a literal welcome sign to doing so.
All of these things could easily be legal ground, a license, so that demons can wreak havoc in your life.
Even tarot card readers and mediums, when they tell you your future, is like you're opening that door and saying, yes, I agree and come into agreement with this. So you allow a demon into your life to come and fulfill what they prophesied over your life.
Yep.
It's like you gave them permission to cause situations in your life. Now you think it's real. So that was me with my spirit guides. And I'm like, I need to be good. I need to do the right thing. We go out on Halloween. That was like our first mission. They said, go out, go to every corner, every block we tell you to, pray over people, pray over their houses. And I said, wait, don't we need like legal ground? Like, don't they need to give us permission? And the spirit guide said, well, the permission is their participation in Halloween.
So what I'm gonna do this Halloween, or today, if I post this video on October 31st, or what I did if I post this video past October 31st. I don't have children yet, so I don't have to worry about, Mommy, I want to dress up as Elsa. I'm gonna pray and fast and laugh at death, remembering that it has no sting, no victory. Christ is triumphant.